public who are qualified on Wednesday. But as Brady Trapnell tells us, the donation from the Augusta National and the Community Foundation is going toward more than just that AU clinic.
The Department of Public Health is vaccinating around 600 people a day here at their Augusta site. But over the coming weeks, they're planning to branch out to reach those in underserved communities. It's part of their mobile vaccination program. The Richmond County Health Department is using a mobile unit to vaccinate those with transportation or computer needs in places like personal care homes. $2 million of funding from Augusta National and the Community Foundation will start a second mobile unit. Here at their main location, DPH says the operation is running smoothly. It's a three-step process, and they even put down a gravel driveway in the back to help with the traffic flow. District Health Director Dr. Stephen Goggins says they plan to continue growing vaccinations here.
We intend to be a couple hundred per day larger. When we're finished, we've been able to get larger shares of our orders. I think it's a reflection of the fact that there has been some increase at the state level.
The health department says they hope to vaccinate around 700 people a day sometime soon as more vaccine supply comes online. They say that's around the max capacity that they can do here at this site. More on this on News 12 at 6 o'clock. Reporting in Augusta, Brady Trapnell on your side.
Appointments for AU's vaccine clinic later this week will be posted online soon, and we'll let you know when those go live.
Governor Kemp says late. South Carolina lawmakers well into their legislative session, but criminal justice has not been the top issue in the State House so far. Lawmakers have been spending most of their time focused on things like abortion legislation, gun rights, and, of course, COVID-19. But there are some efforts behind the scenes to tell you about. Last week, a Republican lawmaker who's part of a special committee on justice reform introduced a bill that defines a chokehold as lethal force, raises the starting salary of an officer, prohibits a member of law enforcement accused of doing something wrong from just hopping to agency and continuing to work in law enforcement, and other measures to make law enforcement training more consistent across all the agencies.
There's so much going on with, obviously, the virus and with the abortion issues coming through and constitutional carry. There's other things that are already in judiciary, but I've dropped this with the hopes that we're gonna shoot for the stars. I hope that that we'll actually see the importance of this.
You don't want to, pass something and then people say, well, that's it, and then you don't get what we've been fighting for the whole entire summer. So we want to make sure we do it right. But I do agree this is a start.
Some Democrats say certain parts of the bill just don't go far enough, like not banning chokeholds altogether, and they want to see a hate crime bill passed this year as well. That would create harsher penalties for hate crimes across South Carolina. Right now, South Carolina, one of just 4 states without a hate crime law.
Taking a look outside, over 8 season is upon us. We have made it, so brace yourselves. Sales officially begin February 12th. Here locally, we were able to catch some of our ambitious scouts getting their boxes early, though. Girl Scouts showed up today every 15 minutes to get their deliveries safely. Those boxes are almost bigger than she is, but if you know any Girl Scouts, you might want to go ahead and give them a call, let them know you are interested, because I think after the year we've had, we could all use a few Girl Scout cookies.
They are working so hard. Nice job to that crew. Okay, staff shortages in schools, nothing new during the pandemic. Coming up, we're going to meet a principal driving his students to be the best they can be. You know, it's a tough time for educators everywhere. They're having to pick up duties they never thought they would have to.
But a North Carolina principal is taking the phrase going the extra mile to the max. As Alan Devlin tells us, he's behind the wheel of a school bus every morning, making sure kids get to where they need to go.
Make sure my flashes are on. We're just checking all the lights just to make sure everything's working.
It's a 6 a.m. start.
Everything's good? Yeah.
For school bus number 6.
What we're doing is just making sure that, first of all, that the seats are okay.
Bus driver Tommy Bolger is only 6 weeks into being behind the wheel.
Picking up 1 now. Total about 32.
His hour route starts before daybreak.
That's early morning, and
And slowly 1 kid
Oh, Donovan. How you doing, baby?
turns into 2.
Told you, Maritza.
Turns into 10.
Hey, Duff. How you doing, baby? Abby, I got one. You got one?
He always makes everyone laugh and asks everyone how their day was every time they get on.
Go Tigers.
He's just a really nice guy. He's a pretty cool bus driver.
Then it's time to drop them all off. First at Ren High,
Bye, Pedro. Bye. Yeah.
then Ren Middle,
All right, baby. See ya.
then finally his last stop, Ren Elementary.
See you tomorrow.
His last stop,
I gotta check to make sure no kids are here. A few times I've had 1 kid asleep.
but the second start
Oh, you got it. Hey, Houston.
to his day.
Oh, I better take this out.
6 weeks as a bus driver for bus number 6, but 6 years as principal of Wren Elementary.
All our educators all over the country that we're just doing stuff that we've normally never done. Still play soccer?
A countywide bus driver shortage meant kids were getting to school and home late.
There was a shortage of bus drivers through no fault of their own, tutoring. Okay.
So Bulger picked up a morning and afternoon route.
I love driving, and I love kids, so why not? That's the quietest you've been on the bus. What happened?
And it's to make sure these kids, almost all of which he knows by name,
Hey, Micah, I actually studied the yearbook. Oh, look at those muscles, man. You've been working out. Can I borrow that? Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at this. Look at the face. Oh, my God.
get to school,
Mask on, mask on.
and get home
Morning, guys. How you doing, baby?
on time.
Good morning. Happy Friday. It's a great Friday. Morning, baby. Savon, how you doing? Good to see you.
And get a fist bump from a principal they know cares.
So we have to do what we have to do.
And after an 11-hour day, tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., bus number 6, he does it all again.
My name is Tommy Bulger, and I'm the principal of Wren Elementary School / bus driver.
Principal Tommy, he will never work a day in his life because he loves what he does.
I love this story, and all these teachers, all these educators going above and beyond, but what a positive influence that guy is.
Yeah.
Well, where there is a will, there is a way to make a difference. These women in Myrtle Beach took their crocheting skills and put them to work creating sweaters and all kinds of garments for people battling breast cancer and Alzheimer's disease. And what started as just two ladies getting together is now a 35-woman team. They've also began making baby blankets for newborns, knitting around 1,000 a year, donating them all.
To know that the volunteers work so hard and present these to us, and then we get to be the ones to present them to the mama, and it just makes everybody so happy.
A lot of these women say this is really therapy for them. A lot of them had stillborn babies of their own, so being able to help other families really helps their souls.
Well, as we continue on through this evening, we're going to be staying on the
Suicide rates across our area. But we start tonight with the vaccine clinic on Washington Road. It was supposed to open today. Now we're learning that won't happen until Wednesday.
That's the clinic we told you about last week with the Augusta National Golf Club footing the bill. That's going to be at the old Steinmart location in the Washington Square Shopping Center right next to the 2nd and Charles. AU Health says they just received the vaccinations this afternoon, so they'll start giving the shots on Wednesday. But the National did a lot more than provide that site.
The club and their nonprofit, the CSRA Community Foundation, donated $2 million to AU Health to help with the vaccine rollout. Brady Trapnell has the latest on growing vaccination efforts across the community.
Around 600 people a day are being vaccinated here at the Department of Public Health's Augusta site. It's one way in and one way out with a line wrapped around the building. The line looks long, but Richmond County's Department of Public Health has it down to a science.
Oh, it was outstanding. It was a very smooth operation. It was flawless.
It's 3 steps, and each patient is 1 step closer to normal.
We've also added some resources into our scheduling. We've gotten some students and others that other volunteers helping us.
Dr. Stephen Goggins is the director of the District Department of Health. He says they plan to vaccinate up to 800 a day in the coming months.
We've been able to get larger shares of our orders. I think it's a reflection of the fact that there has been some increase at the state level.
The efforts in Augusta are growing. A donation from Augusta National and the Community Foundation is helping DPH create another mobile vaccination team to help underserved areas.
There are people who have trouble with computers or internet access or transportation. And so for those populations, it's really important that we do outreach.
That same donation is getting AU's mass vaccination clinic off the ground. Crews worked today to get their Washington Square location ready to go.
We're doing a dry run tomorrow to make sure that we work out any of the kinks before the public presents the Washington Square location on Wednesday.
AU says they plan to use every dose they received this afternoon by the end of the day on Saturday, as our community works to get this science in arms. Dr. Goggins expects more providers to start vaccinating in the next month, and he says after that, then the Department of Public Health will start focusing their efforts more on underserved communities. Reporting in Augusta, Brady Trapnell on your side.
AU Health says they'll be posting more appointments to their website soon for sites in both Georgia and in South Carolina.
We have an update now from our local hospitals on those numbers. numbers, and after trending downward for a while, both AU Health and University Hospital are seeing increases in COVID patients. University gaining 15 more since Friday, 8 more over at AU Health since Thursday, and that's after both had seen general decreases in patients since somewhere around mid-January. Meanwhile, Doctors Hospital and Aiken Regional are both still trending downward, which is the direction we want them to go.
And we want to take a look outside at the weather today. Cloudy 65. As South Carolina expands who can get a vaccine, it still doesn't include teachers.
And teacher groups have been asking Governor McMaster to add teachers to that rollout. Just last night on social media, the governor says adding teachers would be unethical, immoral, and absolutely unacceptable. He says we would be taking vaccines from our most vulnerable population. Kennedy Harris spoke with teacher groups today.
Governor McMaster wants this. Kids in the classroom learning face-to-face 5 days a week.
It is not sustainable, what we're asking our school staff to do right now.
Educator groups across the state say in order for that to happen, they first need this.
The school year is winding away, and the longer we push off educator vaccine access, the less we can experience the benefits instructionally that could have for our students.
Last week, Governor McMaster announced the move to bump 65-year-olds up on the vaccine priority list, making them next in line. Educators are asking for the same prioritization. In a tweet yesterday, the governor called that move unethical, immoral, and absolutely unacceptable. He says because the elderly are more likely to die from COVID-19.
This isn't about the elderly or about educators. This is about let's find a way to do both.
Since the start of the pandemic, many of our local school districts, including Aiken and Richmond counties, have faced staffing challenges due to quarantine numbers. And Kelly says that's been the biggest challenge during the pandemic. Right now, in both Georgia and South Carolina, teachers fall in Phase 1B.
It's a little scary. I've had a number of my teachers that I've had as patients.
Dr. MacArthur with MCG says he wants to see kids in the classroom, but he thinks the hybrid schedules might stick around a while longer.
So everyone's going to feel better when we get more of these vaccines into the arms of teachers.
But if our goal is to educate our students and to provide them with the high quality of instruction that they need and deserve, then vaccine access is essential.
Kennedy Harris, on your side.
And in Georgia, Governor Kemp has also been getting a lot of heat from teacher groups about vaccinating our educators. But Governor Kemp's response has been similar to Governor McMaster, saying the state just doesn't have the supply of doses right now to start vaccinating teachers. Georgia's still working to vaccinate healthcare workers, first responders, and seniors, and others in Phase 1A plus of that rollout. Well, hope is mounting as more vaccines are being approved to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, and the I-Team found that hope cannot come quickly enough.
At the start of COVID, experts warned suicide rates could climb. Nearly a year later, I found across our area, they have. Unfortunately, that painful truth hitting all too close to home for our friend and colleague, Dakota Watson.
You know, he was everything you'd think in a little brother.
And that little brother nickname stuck for Parker Dubois. Dakota says Parker was his best friend's younger brother. And as they grew older, Parker became a best friend too, even serving as a groomsman in his wedding.
I knew I had a little brother when all those days of begging him not to tell on us turned into begging him to come with us.
He was definitely the bright spot in the room all the time, which is really crazy thinking about it now because, you know, you don't realize what people are really thinking and going through on a day-to-day basis.
Dakota texted him the night he died, checking in on him and planning a trip to Augusta, something to look forward to.
I was going to pick up lunch for my wife, actually, and just kind of dropped down to my knees.
Parker Dubois was just 22 years old.
That's unfortunately not the first time I've gotten that phone call, and it's by far the worst phone call you're ever going to get.
Dakota's grandfather died by suicide too, just a few years ago. Parker was there for Dakota through that pain, even walking with him in a suicide prevention walk.
The fact is you really don't have any idea what anybody's going through.
The National Suicide Hotline hears that hidden pain every day. And our I-Team found calls in Georgia and South Carolina were up last year. In just the first 6 months of 2020, Georgians in crisis made nearly 25,000 calls to the hotline. South Carolinians made more than 10,000. And while we will probably never know all the layers and complexities that could make someone this full of life, end theirs at such a young age. Dakota thinks the timing with Parker certainly could have played a role.
I do think being in isolation for almost a year, not being able to hang out with your friends, your family, not being able to be surrounded by people you love all the time, it really, really is taking a toll on millions of people.
The CDC says by late June of last year, just 3 months into our collective COVID-19 ordeal, 40% of adults in the U.S. reported struggling with mental health or substance abuse. 11% reported seriously considering suicide within the last 30 days. That number doubled compared to adults in 2018. Scientists also noted an increased risk for suicidal thoughts among minorities, essential workers, and unpaid caregivers for adults. And suicidal thoughts during COVID were significantly higher at 25% in younger adults aged 18 to 24, like Parker, who had also struggled with mental health before the pandemic.
You know, he'd had a couple bumps in the road just with mental health and things when he was, in college. And that's kind of when we started noticing some stuff. That was probably about 2 years ago, I'd say. And then, we thought he was doing a lot better because he was, at least externally.
So many of our families here at home facing the same reality right now. The I-Team found suicides in Richmond County rose 62% in 2020 from the year before, including 2 17-year-olds and a 19-year-old. Aiken County reported a 17% increase in suicides last year. Columbia County reported 20 suicides last year, at least one of those a high school student.
So I don't know what the answer is because I don't think anybody does because it's so unique. We will get through this eventually. This pandemic will end at some point. So, hopefully we'll be able to be surrounded by people we love soon.
And that message of hope is critical right now. Experts say self-care is more important than ever. Diet, exercise, and sleep. But most importantly, if you show warning signs like substance abuse, feelings of helplessness or hopelessness, suicidal thoughts or actions, asking for help could save your life.
We would do anything in this world to have taken that pain away from that young man.
If you or someone you know is struggling, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is open 24 hours a day. We're going to put that number on our screen, 1-800-273-8255. We've also put a link to the warning signs on our website, and we're also going to link you to some resources for free online therapy at wrdw.com.
And Dakota, thank you for sharing. People forecast.
A deputy in the hospital for more than 2 months. The amazing thing the Orangeburg County Sheriff's Office did when they heard he was coming home. A somber anniversary, the deadliest day of the civil rights movement in South Carolina. And today, organizers of the Orangeburg Massacre Remembrance held their annual ceremony virtually. They honored 3 South Carolina State University students who all died in 1968 after state troopers shot into a crowd of demonstrators in Orangeburg. 28 others were also hurt that day. The group of college students wanted to integrate an all-white bowling alley. 9 troopers were charged, but later acquitted by a jury.
More opportunities coming up to honor local African-American history. Next weekend, the Augusta Players putting on a live stream performance at the Mountaintop. You can buy those tickets online. February 27th, there's a jazz concert at the Leslie B. Price Center. Tickets are on sale at the Smith Hazel Center. All that's happening in Aiken. And Augusta University has a Black History Month research guide on their website with books and websites and lots of interviews. Some South Carolina lawmakers want to change policing and criminal justice across the state. Last week, a Republican introduced a policing reform bill called the PACT Act, and here's what it does. Defines a chokehold as a lethal force, raises the starting salary for a police officer, and prohibits a member of law enforcement accused of doing something wrong from just hopping from one agency to another. Democrats say certain parts of the bill don't go far enough. They also say they want to see a hate crime bill passed this year as well.
A deputy of almost 30 years in Orangeburg County was in the hospital for more than 2 months battling COVID, missing Thanksgiving and Christmas. Now he's finally home. That is a parade for Deputy Lieutenant Dexter Ladson as he was finally taken home this weekend. On November 22nd, he tested positive for coronavirus and was diagnosed with double pneumonia. After more than 2 months, he was finally cleared to come home, and his sister knew what would lift his spirits.
I called Sheriff Leroy Ravenel and Captain James Green, and all they said was, say no more. And when he saw that, he break down and cry. He said, I'm so happy. He said, I'm so happy, and I'm glad to be home.
A lot of people people care about that officer. The deputy lieutenant still undergoing physical therapy. He's also being treated for bed sores, but his sister says he is pushing himself to get back to work and doing what he loves, serving the community.
Great celebration there. Let's head outside for a look around on this Monday. Riley, thanks. A project 3 years in the making, now on display all across downtown Augusta. The city officially presenting the 10 sculptures over the weekend as part of Augusta's new sculpture trail. We've been telling you about this, but this artwork is going to stick around for a couple of years. And then if you like any of them, they're going to all be for sale. So while you look at the sculptures, you can also download the AutoCast app to hear each artist's inspiration about the work that went into it. The sculptures are spread out across downtown from Broad Street over to the Augusta Common. Speaking of downtown, Augusta-Richmond County Libraries were supposed to reopen today, but we went to the main library on Telfair Street, and they tell us the libraries are going to keep only doing curbside pickup until further notice. If you need to return something, they say don't take them to the book drop-off since no staff will be inside to process that material, but due dates and pickup deadlines will be extended with no fines.
Girl Scout cookies are almost here, and today we got a sneak peek at those cookies coming into the river region. Can you tell we're hungry around here? These Girl Scouts and their parents driving up to get their loads of cookies to sell and deliver. Booth sales start this Friday. Pre-orders are already available, but don't worry if you still haven't ordered. You do have until March 17th.
What's left in here after 8:30 tonight, the girls will be selling throughout Aiken as well as the other 8 troops as well.
That is precious cargo in there. We are learning some grocery stores like Kroger aren't allowing stands outside, but don't worry, there is an app to help you find cookies. It's called Girl Scout Cookie Finder. It's available on Apple and Android devices. Now, that is an app I can get on board with.
And they are earning their cookie badges right there, aren't they? Working so hard.
So hard.
National Signing Day is behind us, but one Lincoln County senior agreed to continue his football career today. And for Miles Parks, this goes way beyond football. We're going to hear from him next in sports.
On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Hawk Law Group.
National Signing Day has come and gone, but we've still got local guys agreeing to play college ball. Today in Lincoln County, Miles Parks signed to play at Fort Scott Community College in Kansas. And for Miles and his family, this is about a lot more than just football. When Miles Parks put pen to paper this morning, he lived out a dream he's been chasing for years, playing football at the next level.
I like to thank my family, thank God, and thank my coaching staff for all the work they put in, work I put in, time they put in to get this scholarship.
Football runs in the Parks family. Miles' dad, Anthony, played and had dreams of going pro. Now he's watching as a proud fan as his youngest son lives out his dream.
Having the opportunity to see him sign the scholarship and help navigate the waters that he'll be traveling now.
As Anthony and his wife Melissa watched Miles sign, they had a 44-strong shirt and vest on. 44 was Anthony Parks' number back in his playing days. 44 is Miles' number now, and it was his older brother Austin's number back in his days at Lincoln County. Austin also had dreams of playing football in college.
His dream was interrupted because he was diagnosed with cancer his senior year. So he had to fight the cancer battle. And he gained his wings in 2018.
Miles wore his 44 jersey to sign, representing the school he played for, the father who helped get him here, and the guardian angel who's always watching over him. To honor Austin, the Red Devils are retiring the number 44 this year. That means 44 will forever be linked to Austin, Miles, and the Parks family. Plenty more sports coming up here at 11 o'clock. I'll see you back here then.